Welcome to the very first episode of Talking Shop from our homes. Now that we're all quarantined and living from home with this coronavirus deal going on. So Ashby, I want to thank you for joining me yet again. I think this might be your third appearance on Talking Shop. So you and Ryan Curlin, I think, are the most attended on Talking Shop.
Yes.
So how's everything going?
It's going pretty awesome. I like this working from home thing. It's pretty good.
Nice. You're in your lovely guest bedroom, so very nice backdrop there.
I wish I had an office. That's the one thing my house does not have is an office. But this works quite well. I set up Operation Coronavirus here in my guest bedroom, so I have an office. It just happens to have a bed in it.
Well, then, speaking of setting up business as usual is going on for all of us advisors out there. What are you seeing? Let's get a State of the Union from your perspective as far as what are the mom and pops of the U.S. going through right now? Are you seeing a lot of panic? Are they the ones selling and causing these 10% down days, or is that somewhere else in the markets?
Well, I definitely can't speak for across the country. I can only speak for my clients, and I can tell you that a very interesting story. So the other couple weeks back when we had that 3,000 point down day. Following the closing of, or the discontinuance or indefinite stoppage to the NBA and every professional sports team and everything like that. And I told Beth when I went into the office, I was kind of dreading the day a little bit because I knew I was going to be on the phone all day long. And what ended up happening surprised me, which was that 3,000 point down day in my 12 years of being an advisor was the best day of my career, which I think probably runs counter to just about everybody else I know. And the reason is because I spoke to almost every single client, and those clients are my clients. I'm very blessed that I have a tremendous group of clients, but I think part of the reason there was no concern, I mean, I'm not saying they weren't bummed, but there wasn't any concern. There wasn't any risk of selling at that stage of the game. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I talk about risk in terms of years instead of, I don't talk to clients about a 60-40 portfolio or 70-30. I talk to them about how many years can you go without having to take anything out of your equity portion of your portfolio. And, most of my clients, your people are aware that I work almost exclusively with retirees. And, so the calls went a lot like this. Look, we're prepared. You talk about this every single time we meet, that we have an 8-year, in most cases, an 8-year buffer. This is month 1 of 8 years. So I feel very blessed that my clients, at least through this point in the market, aren't worried as we speak. And I'm hopeful that continues because, we have an 8-year buffer. There's a reason we've planned the way that we have. So I'm not really seeing that, at least within my client base. So I can't speak for anybody else, but that's what I'm seeing.
Well, and that's just a tribute to you as a financial advisor, having a plan, laying these things out, and finding a very good way of explaining the risk side of the portfolio and having that buffer. I think that makes sense. I talk about, basically I say the same thing, but I don't use the years. I think the years is a lot more impactful to somebody who's living from their money. So I really like that. And I think we were texting the day you were calling all your clients, and I typically don't do a lot of outreach to my clients in respect to the markets because we talk about risk. Through the last 3 years, I've been talking about when corrections are going to happen. The law of large numbers. You're going to see big numbers drop in your portfolio. It's great to see it on the upside. It can happen on the downside. Just trying to prep that so when it did happen, whenever that was, I could say, hey, we've talked about this. We've addressed how we're going to handle that. Our portfolio is shifting and kind of bring that back. So I don't really like to reach out because I'm afraid that's going to bring concern. But after talking to you and hearing how successful that day was, I did start calling some of my clients because everybody has some of those clients that are a little bit more nervous or you just know that they don't stomach it as well. And I'm glad I did because they were all very appreciative. They were all same stories. They were all very comfortable. They thought it was good to hear from me. And a lot of them asked how I was doing, which was pretty cool. They were more not worried, but they were interested to see how I was handling everything and wanted to make sure I wasn't stressed. So it was good. Now, I haven't called every client, but I've talked to the majority of them, and I've sent some emails and videos out as well to kind of make up for not making calls. But those clients that I know that needed a little bit of extra hand holding, I'm glad I did call, and it was all because you told me I probably should. So,
What's interesting about that is I didn't really call with the idea. I mean, the market was tumultuous, is tumultuous, I guess. Still, I think we haven't. I don't know that we've seen the end of this. I certainly don't think so, but I hope I'm wrong. I think that I also reached out with the idea that, hey, I just wanted to call and check in on you, see how you were doing. Are you doing okay? And because people are being affected personally by this virus. So it was also just a way for me to check in and say hello and just talk to them friend to friend. I mean, these are, in both of our cases, these are lifelong relationships. These aren't just, client advisor relationships. They're friendships. And so, for me to have just called and said, hey, how are you? I'm just checking in on you. Invariably the conversation leads to a financial conversation, albeit brief, but it does lead to one. And, every one of them brought it up that, hey, I'm comfortable with the way things are. I'm comfortable. We've talked about risk in terms of years for a lot of years, and we're prepared and we feel prepared. And so, but I think more than anything else, it was more just a checking in on them as people, as friends, that I think meant more than anything else. And they were appreciative of that.
Right. Well, and I think that leading the call off with how are you doing, not, hey, I know the market's down 3,000 points, like not making it about the market and just making it genuinely about the relationship, I think is very key, which speaks a lot to you. And it's no surprise that's the way you led it. So working from home, I found to be a little bit harder than I thought. I just heard the door from upstairs to the basement open, and I hear Silas coughing. So we'll see if we're going to get a photo bomb here in a little bit, and I'm going to keep it in if he does. Well, what's one thing that you've done? So a lot of advisors haven't had the opportunity for work from home before, or learning how to work virtually. What's something that you've done that has helped you navigate working from home and still be productive and do the things that you need to do in these unique circumstances?
Well, I think two things probably more than anything else is one is I still follow my routine. After the first couple days of working from home, I ended up on days that I didn't have a video meeting. I kind of sat around in sweatpants because it was new. And I actually found that I was less productive. I didn't like it. So, I went back immediately I started staying home 3 weeks ago. Or 2 weeks ago. I don't know, whatever it is at this point, I've lost track. But by the third day, I got up, I did my morning routine. I mean, at 6:30, I do my daily reading. I do, I journal, I do prayer, I do stuff like that. And then, at 7 o'clock, the boys get up. At 7:30, I work out. By 8:30, I'm dressed, showered, in my office, and working, just like I would be if I was at my physical office. So I found that following my exact routine, and this might sound silly, but getting dressed, not sitting around lazily or comfortably. I want to be dressed for the day and feel like I'm going to work. So it sounds kind of silly, but that's probably following my routine is the best part. And then just secondarily, just keeping my my guest bedroom door shut. Is probably number two, because the boys know I'm working when the door is shut. And so, Beth has done a really fantastic job of not only being a first grade teacher, but, keeping them entertained and keeping them out of my hair so I can do work. So that's probably the two biggest things of all.
So for those of you out there that don't have the luxury of having a spouse who can handle a lot of the school work. So I'm on the other side of the table. The first week was a cluster. Like I came into this, I knew that I wrote a blog post about having time and being able to reset and focus on things we want to do and kind of come out of this realign with where we want life to really be, because now we have a step back in time. I'm thinking, I don't have basketball practice. We don't have soccer. We're not running around. So the time that was spent doing those is now we can apply to the house. Spring cleaning, working out more, eating healthier, making meals. And I thought I'd have all this abundance of time to reallocate. Well, the first week with e-learning, it was like It was all over the
I'm
place.
sure,
So
yeah.
trying to continue to have meetings going in, trying to help out the e-learning. My wife has a retail business that does online sales as well. So trying to figure out how does she manage that while I do my client meetings and then help the boys. You would think at 9, Roman would be able to read directions and follow them on his own. He's going to cut corners. He's not going to do everything correctly because he wants to go play. So we actually have to kind of hold their hand through the e-learning side of things. So what we did beginning week 2 and really going into this week is when we're hitting it good is with the exception of recording this video, usually the mornings I'm just doing admin work, emails, phone calls, preparing for meetings, doing things that I can do while getting interrupted from time to time so that I can take care of the boys and help out with them. So Ange has her time to get showered, work out, go to the store to get the things that she needs to do with shipping. And then around lunchtime, we kind of flip. So I've shifted all of my client meetings because no one's going anywhere to the afternoon. So in the afternoon is when I'll see clients for Zoom meetings or phone calls, talk to other advisors, do things of that sort. But we kind of split the day up. And then the evening when the boys go to bed is kind of when we catch up.
Yeah.
So anything that we missed out on that isn't that important to happen in the day, we'll catch in the evening. So I'm finding myself having actually less time than I did before. But in the one thing I'm learning that I think will help me when we come out on the other side is I'm extremely efficient from like 12 to 5. So I'm getting 8 hours, 9 hours worth of work done in 5 hours because that's all I have. So it's showing me how much I wasted on the other side when I had a whole day. So I think I am going to come out more productive. I will be more efficient coming out on the other side of this, but it's possible to manage both. You've got a great setup. I have a great setup now. We're all just figuring it all out, but it's taking a little bit of time to get it down.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is I bought a big monitor.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a monitor at home. I would just bring my laptop home from the office. And I found that my first week I have 2 monitors that sit side by side, and I really missed that. So the 2 monitors would be a little, obstructive here in my little home setup. So I just bought a big monitor, and that's made a huge difference for me, for sure.
I'm going to be going to get I have an iMac at the office, so I'm going to go get that and bring it. I ordered a stand-up desk for our office upstairs, so you can hear Silas coughing in the background. So we got our photo bomb. This is what it is right now. It's okay. If you're having client meetings and you have a kid run in, it's going to happen and your clients aren't going to care. Like we get a free pass. And I will tell you that I've had Silas come in on virtual meetings a number of times when I've been working from home and clients still don't care. So I think we're learning to relax a little bit. But yeah, back to the screen. I'm going to go get my iMac and bring it once we get the stand-up desk. That way Silas can't mess with that, but I do miss the big screen. Plus, when it's editing things, it's a lot easier on the iMac. So,
yeah, having the big screen is critical.
All right. Well, Ashby, I know you've got a busy day ahead of you. I appreciate you taking the time to kind of give us an update on what you're seeing out there, a little bit of into the life of you working from home and what's worked for you. So, other advisors that they're still finding that way, we've got at least another month ahead of us of doing this. I'm thinking it'll be longer. So, figure out. I do think that the getting dressed. So for me, getting dressed is important. But the thing that really is the trigger for me, and this sounds silly because I don't know if people our age actually still wear cologne, but I like good smells. So I'll spray one hit of cologne, and that's the thing that puts me in. That's my trigger. Like putting on the button up is one thing, but then once I spray the cologne, then I'm ready to go. I can get that smell and it kind of triggers me. So find that thing that takes you back to a little bit of normalcy that gets you in the zone and then go do that. Whatever it might be, as silly as you might think it is, it works. So, all right, Ashby, thanks for being the first one of these. Looking forward to talking to a bunch of advisors in between, quick 10-minute videos, seeing what other people are seeing, learning about what other people are doing just so we can make sure we're not missing out on anything. So appreciate your time as always and get back to work, man.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, we'll see everybody in the next episode.